Hey, y'all, and welcome to A Positive Thought. I created this daily podcast because life is hard and it's actually impossible to be positive all the time. But I hope today's thought will give us a chance to stop, reflect, and have a moment of gratitude in our day, even if that moment is small, because we're all a work in progress. This is just a reminder, not professional advice. I'm your host, Candice B, and today's thought is procrastination doesn't mean you're lazy. Earlier today, I found myself procrastinating. Building my career again from the ground up is no easy task, and unlike before, I don't have help. It's a lot, and honestly, I didn't feel like writing anything positive. So instead of thinking of a podcast episode and jotting down my thoughts, I decided to take a walk. There's a lake near my current home, so I thought, why not get some fresh air and sunshine? Maybe it would give me some inspiration. On my walk, I started thinking about all the things I need to do, but I had nothing. I mean, literally no thoughts in my head. As I kept extending my walk around the lake, it hit me that I was procrastinating. I didn't want to come back inside and sit down and write this podcast. Some social media content needed to be written as well. Oh, and I need to find a new dentist. That's a thing that I've been putting off. I was having a it's too much moment. And then I realized that I had the perfect podcast episode. Procrastination. I guess that walk did help me after all. Procrastination is generally a symptom of a deeper issue, so I want to talk you through my process earlier today, and hopefully it will help you get through your procrastination as well. The first issue I had was that I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. I am putting a lot of pressure on myself to say something profound on this podcast, when in reality, all I promised y'all was a positive thought. I don't even have a time limit. This podcast can be anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes. To be honest, I really don't know. But of course, I'm building it up in my head. I had to talk myself out of trying to create a quote unquote perfect episode. I reminded myself that I just needed to think of something positive. That's all. That's it. And I'm done. If you're like me and you find yourself putting things off because you want them to be perfect, also be like me and get over it. Just do the thing. It might be terrible, but it could be good. And by continuing to do things, you'll learn and get better. You might never be perfect at it though, because I'm not sure perfection exists, but that's another topic. The other issue I had was just plain avoidance. I've been looking for someone to help me manage social media with no luck for quite a while because I don't like the management side of things. But since it's still just me, I have to do it. I mean, how are y'all gonna listen to this podcast if I don't market it online? The other thing is I also hate finding new doctors no matter what I need. And I cannot be the only one. It's so annoying to figure out if they take your insurance or if they'll have appointments when you want to go. It literally drains me mentally. But guess what? I have to do both of those things, and avoiding them isn't going to help because I'm still not going to want to do them later. I forced myself to do both of those things before I could even think about writing this episode because writing is actually one of my favorite things, and I got fired up as soon as I came up with a topic. I realized that I should probably lead by example, so I went ahead and tackled the things I hate first. Try it if you procrastinate on things you hate. Maybe give yourself a reward for completing them because I am definitely going shopping after this. Judge me if you must. I also procrastinate because I'm a very busy bee, hence the last name. I want to do all the things when in reality, I should probably only be doing, no, scratch that. I should only be doing a few. If you're like that, then you should sit down and make a list of priorities. What are the things you need to do now, the things you need to do later, and the things you just want to do? Once you make the list, only focus on the things you need to do now. Just go ahead and start checking them off. I hope y'all are seeing a pattern here where you just trick yourself into doing things, because that's all it is, to be honest. Lastly, I want to touch on another reason that I procrastinate. This didn't happen to me today, but it is the reason you're actually listening to this podcast at all. It's the fact that I am a huge, big, ginormous dreamer. I daydream, which I'm going to do an entire episode on one day, I think. But it's why I'm always taking walks. It's why I listen to music and sing in the shower. It's why I have little daydreams at night before I fall asleep. I can't help it. I'm always dreaming about the things I want to manifest in my life, the goals I have, and the career I'm building. Case in point, I've wanted to do this podcast for a long time, or at least some version of it, I'll say. Honestly, the idea of creating a company that gives women especially, but everybody, something to look forward to every single day of the week has been my calling for years. But instead of working on it, I dreamed about it. And instead of executing, I either got caught up in the dream or overwhelmed by how much work it would take. Both of those things led to procrastination. It was wild business. Eventually, I realized that even if the amount of work is overwhelming, I ain't doing nothing else. And I'm not going to be happy until I at least attempt to do it. So I made a list of priorities. And while I have so many big ideas, right now I'm focusing on a few things at a time. I'm going to build, and eventually I'll get to that big dream. But it's never going to happen if I keep being a procrastinator. If any of this resonated with you, think about that thing you're procrastinating on and figure out a way to execute it so that you can be as happy as I am right now putting my work out into the world. Oh, and by the way, I think this might be the longest episode to date, and I had nothing to say when I first tried to write it. Sometimes walking away is the best way to end procrastination, I guess. Let me know what you think on Twitter or Instagram at PositivePodHQ, and please share this podcast with at least one person who you think needs to hear it, because I would appreciate that so much. Until tomorrow, that's today's positive thought.